So when you're working in all these sets, and obviously you are from a film family, and people would know you as Javed Akhtar's daughter and Hani Rani's daughter, as it were. Was that something that people were conscious of? Because I mean, AD work can be a lot of grunt work too. It's really like a glorified spot boy sometimes.
Not
isn't it?
really, because I worked on independent films and I did a
Okay.
lot of foreign films. And when I started, like when I was on Mira's film, of course, Mira
Huh.
knows my parents. But
Right.
I mean, Mira is like, she's a super chick and she knows what it takes. You know,
Right.
she's worked her way up. And,
Right.
you know, she likes bright people. She likes you if you have initiative, if you have smarts, if you have common sense, you know, so you get on with her and she really pampers you. But she's
Right.
not going to cut you any slack because you're someone's kid. You know,
Right.
and
Right.
and I'm glad and I'm grateful for that. You know, and but also the people I worked with, everybody on that crew, nobody knew my parents. They were all foreigners.
Right.
You know, so I worked on mainly films that nobody knew where you were coming from.
Would you be on the credits of these films, Zoya? Like some of these movies that were probably shot in India, like which ones would it be?
Bhopal
Love to go and check it
Express.
out. Which
Bhopal Express.
Bhopal Express, okay?
Split
Mahesh
Wide
Mathai.
Open.
Right.
On Bombay Boys. On
What would your credit be?
On Bombay
In
Boys,
Bombay
I was
Boys,
second
yeah.
assistant director. Second AD.
And Bhopal Express
Second AD.
again, and Split Wide
Dilshat
Open.
Rai, first AD, casting director. Then
So
Arman would be casting director.
you did cast Farhan in the lead, so you obviously knew that he was always destined to be an actor. He's grown up with you practically. I mean, for all the years. I mean, why so late for him as an actor, and why so late for you as a director? I mean, he was right there. You could just cast him to begin with, right?
Yeah, because he was directing. He had a full life. You know, he wasn't waiting around. And you can't cast someone unless they themselves are ready to now, I want to do this. You know? And it took him a while to get there, I think, that he wants to act. And he's a really good actor, actually. You know, so now I think he's enjoying it. And for me, I was ready to direct at 28. 27,
Right.
28. I just didn't want to direct stuff that actors wanted to be in. You know, I just didn't want to make that love story, and it was just not my thing. You know, so it took time.
I mean, speaking of actors again, you know, Zoya, like whenever there's, you know, one speaks about you, one reads about you more, so it becomes so much about Javed Akhtar, Zoya Akhtar, I guess because writer. But one tends to forget, one, that you grew up with your mom pretty much all through. Second, she done 72 films. That's a lot of films for someone to have acted in. She was a bona fide child superstar, as it were, until a certain age when she quit movies. I mean, have you seen those films? I mean, is that something that you... Okay.
Of course. I mean, I'm one of the very few people in my generation, because now everybody has cameras and everybody has, you know, all their children on video. But in my generation, people don't have footage of their parents when they were 3 years old. You know, so I was one of the few kids that had my mother from the time she was 2 to the time she was 16. Like, I've seen my mother animated. You know what I mean? I've heard her speak. I've, you know, seen her expressions, and I've seen her change and grow. So that wasn't possible at that point. And it's really interesting because even now to see her, she was darn cute, man.
Right.
She and my aunt Daisy. So, I mean, Farhan obviously gets that from her because she could act, you know. So that comes from somewhere. And she was like a proper... I'm the only person in my family that doesn't have a national award, by the way.
What do you mean? You haven't got a national award yet for all these lovely films?
No. Everybody in my family has a national award except me. My mother, my father, my brother, my stepmother, my cousin, everybody.
Except mom has a national award for a child star, like a child star national award. Which film was that for? Which movie is that?
I don't know if it was for Pyar Ki Pyas or Tare Zameen Par, one of those two.
Oh, there's a movie called Tare Zameen Par that starred your mom.
Zameen Ke Tare.
That's Zameen Ke Tare. Okay.
Zameen Ke Tare.
The reference always comes to, okay, Javed Akhtar and Zoya Akhtar, but actually Javed Akhtar is the outsider to the movie industry. Your mom was the insider. I mean, if you start acting at the age of 2, you're pretty much the insider in Bollywood, correct, as it were. What is it like watching your mom? Is it obvious you should become an actor?
I've never had that thing to be on stage. I hate being on stage. I'm not somebody that's really happy to be in front of the camera. You know, so I never had that. My brother always had that. He's a performer. Right. He's a bona fide performer. So we were very different, you know. But I always wanted to, my first thing I think to do with the arts was to write. That was my first interest, and the first thing I actually started doing was I want to be a writer, I want to write. I used to see both my parents work at home, both of them writing, both of them discussing scripts, people around all the time. So you're privy to that. So that was one of the first things I wanted to do. And then directing came later. But yeah, no, I never wanted to act.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.